he didn't have a good night. You know, it was sort of like he waited for that moment. There was all the talk, and there was he didn't have the luck on his side. You know, I think that when Eubank can outbox somebody, that's when you've had a bad night. You know, his boxing ability is like a baby giraffe, just been born, come out. It was terrible. I mean, to try to put his style, imitate the style of, you know, the great Roy Jones Jr. is just, it's I don't know what it is. Like, it's not even boxing, is it, to be fair? I've always said he won't be world champion. He'll never be world champion because I know what it takes to be world champion. I've shared the ring with him. He hasn't got it. Do I think I can do the weight comfortably? It doesn't matter if I can do it comfortably or not with him. I could do it half dead and still beat him. So, you know, that won't be the issue. I wouldn't care if it was at 12 stone, 13 stone, 11-6, 11 stone. He hasn't got what it takes to beat me. So, it's one of them, mate. But listen, earbox when I'm ready. Earbox and go when I'm ready. At the end of the day, he hasn't really done anything in the game apart from his dad's name where you can let someone call the shots. You know what I'm saying?
What's good, family? Shout out to my general, Sean Sinfield, for sending in them coins and boosting up your man the YB's gyro. No doubt. So we just heard there from your man's Billy Ho Saunders airing out, yeah? Wiping off his lipstick to cleverly quicker go, saddling up Chris Eubank Jr. to have a quick go on him. I'll give some respect to Billy Ho Saunders, even though he went missing for a damn near a year after he got his cherry popped by Canelo Alvarez. Fair play to him. I'm just hoping he's not woofing. Now, for you man who don't know, woof is when you're talking with no intent. And to be fair to Billy Ho, he's disappeared for a year, so he could easily have just carried on being disappeared. But part of me thinks, is he coming back for some relevance? Or is he coming back because he really want to get in there and get stuck in with Chris? I'm praying it's the latter of them. Because if he's just coming in to woof and get some relevance and no intentions, it sums up what a big whopper Billy Ho Saunders really is. Then again, some of the words he said does lend itself that he may actually be serious about this. One phrase or one quote in particular was when he said, people talk about fighters coming back for the money, but really in my mind I'm looking at coming back because of the boredom. Now that there is a real statement. Now of course Billy Ho Saunders made it clear that he wants some serious bread, he wants some serious coin if he's going to come back, but the fact he brought up the fact he's bored, I mean, it's not necessarily the best motivation, but still, it's a real motivation being bored. If you're bored, and if you genuinely believe Chris Eubank is sweet to you, why not go in there for 5 mil? Yeah? Anyway, let's get to the actual quote. So the first thing Billy Ho Saunders said, and I give him some credit. He does have his mouthpiece is one of the best in the game. Obviously, he know in the YB, but in far as the low IQ boxing game goes, I like his mouthpiece. He said, listen, you know there's something wrong with a fighter, or you know a fighter isn't quite right or isn't healthy when he's losing when he's getting outboxed by Chris Eubank. That's what he said, because people have been making allegations that, oh well, Liam Chinium's Williams must have been, or there was some allegations he was weight trained, or he was, one of them ones, something like that. So Billy Ho Saunders said, yeah, obviously it's clear if someone's boxing your head off, if Chris Eubank's boxing your head off, you know you seriously weight trained, because that should never happen. Chris Eubank, you know there's some serious problems if you're getting outboxed by Chris Eubank. But nah, on a serious note, them claims are false. Chris Eubank, to his credit, not to his credit actually, scrap that. I'm not giving people credit for running around, but it's people who like that kind of thing, if you like fighters running around for their life, if you like fighters backpedaling all night, then Chris Eubank has proven he can do that. That's a skill allegedly people weren't sure he had. Now I don't understand why people, I don't understand, since when do we cheer this on? It's weird. This whole thing about boxing, really it started coming around again when Tyson Fury came around. And I can't blame Tyson Fury, because at that point in time, he had no other, he couldn't do it any other way. Anytime Tyson Fury tried to hold his feet, he got knocked out or got moshed after death. So I understood that Tyson Fury had to resell this whole thing. At the time, you had AJ coming up. He was super hot at the time, knocking or whooping everyone in proper fashion. And Tyson Fury is sitting there with his 2 pillow fists thinking, what am I going to do? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll spin off this whole new, I'm out boxing, I'm a boxer and you're a stiff bodybuilder. As we know now, it plays out, he's a victor now. But at the time, that's where this whole narrative came from, of being, it's not about getting stuck in, it's about being a fanny, and it's about running around backwards, and, I boxed Klitschko's head off, even though he barely had a mark on him after 12 rounds. Yeah, let me educate you, man. It's not a boxing lesson. You have not boxed anyone's head off when they don't even have a mark on their face. Boxing someone's head off is what boxing someone's head off sounds like. Let me give you an example. That picture of AJ stretching out Klitschko's neck for him, that's what you call literally taking someone's head off, stretching their neck out for them. That's the bottom line. There's no in between. Yeah? No in between whatsoever. But either way, everyone started rubbing off this Chris Eubank cat now. He can box. Ain't no one trying to watch that. And the reason it's relevant is, if these two are to fight, don't forget, people, the first 6 rounds in their first fight, Chris Eubank was trying to do all that boxing crap, much like Anthony Johnston. Yeah? But to be fair to Chris Eubank, he actually clocked on, but too little too late. Chris Eubank tried to outbox Billy Ho Saunders for 6 rounds, and it had no effect. Because it's overrated. Outboxing and running around is overrated. It's no good. Especially for these athletic people like Chris Eubank and like AJ. Why? What is this fascination? Chris Eubank came out even against Liam Chinniams, even against a man who he had hurt every time he touched. I didn't want to KO him. I wanted to prove I could fanny around. I wanted to prove I could bore the fans to tears. What's wrong with you, man? Seriously. I think you've all got identity crises. I think there's something wrong with a lot of you, truth be known. Why are you all so mentally weak? Even if people were critiquing you. It's a perfect example. Tyson Fury for years said AJ a stiff bodybuilder. Billy Ho Saunders said to Chris Eubank, you're a useless no IQ boxer. So both of you have changed what made your half decent and tried to become something else because 2 of your closest and biggest rivals have dissed you. That's shocking. And that shows you how pathetic a lot of you are. And it shows you how pathetic all of your camps are. Because if I was in the camp, we'd be doubling down. Yeah, you're damn right we're stiff. We're going to be so stiff. Yeah? Let's see how much you like the stiffness in your backside. Oops. That's what I'll be telling them, 100%. Yeah, you're going to get a whole bunch of wood in your backside. Yeah? Super stiff we're going to be. How about that? Instead, all the zesty teams have said, but AJ, Tyson Fury said you're stiff. We best learn how to become twinkle toes, and we best learn how to hug people before the fight, and we best learn how to take photos with our opponents and make sure we're super soft and super agreeable. That's what the AJ team said. Chris Eubank's team, Chris Eubank, Billy Ho Saunders said you can't outbox. Maybe we should stop being aggressive and stop throwing combinations, and then maybe we should start doing all this fanning around. Even when every time you touched Liam Chinniams, he was ready to go, let's back off him and do some dancey crap. That last round was embarrassing as well. But like I was saying, what makes this shocking is the fact that Chris Eubank, if that fight had been 12 rounds, Chris Eubank arguably would have stopped Billy Ho Saunders. Billy Ho Saunders was gassed, and there was 3 rounds to go, and Chris Eubank was building. But his best rounds in that fight were when he was applying pressure and throwing combinations. Yes, his combinations are wild, much like AJ's. Yes, his technique isn't that great. He was a little too wild. But why don't these guys ever focus on making... the way they carry on is as if they've accomplished the aggressive side of the game. I'm 10 out of 10 at cutting the ring off and chewing people up, so I wanted to expand my game. I'd get that. Yeah, if AJ and Chris Eubank were super finessed at being aggressive like Alvarez, and they felt like, I want to expand my boxing knowledge, but you man are basic at being aggressive. It's crazy. So rather than getting better and more efficient at what you're good at and what comes naturally to you, you've tried to adopt a whole new game that you ain't no good at either. It's weird. Honestly, it's weird. But it shows how mentally fragile they are. They spend more time trying to appease their enemies than cracking on and trying to make their own greatness and leave their own mark on the sport. How embarrassing. And I'll tell you this for free. If Chris Eubank, and I think I have to applaud Tyson Fury, I have to applaud Billy Ho Saunders, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are winning from this. Because guess what? What has Tyson Fury's been able to completely disarm AJ? Tyson Fury knew how dangerous AJ was. He felt it in sparring. AJ filled him in sparring. Facts. He reported as much. And from that point, Tyson Fury knew, you know what? I'm going to pull a psychological operation on this weak-minded bodybuilder. And he did it. And he was 100% successful. He took AJ, played with his head, and now AJ is soft like butter. Yeah? Soft like cotton wool. Couldn't hurt anyone. Couldn't hurt nothing. AJ can't. Scared of his own shadow. Yeah? And now Fury going to go in there and wipe AJ's bottom for him. And it's the same as Billy Ho Saunders. Look at this. Billy Ho Saunders, by using basic reverse psychology, has now taken Chris Eubank, who was most dangerous to him. When Chris Eubank was aggressive in them last 5 rounds, Billy Ho Saunders had no answers. He was getting pieced up. But now, look at Chris Eubank. He doesn't have an aggressive bone in his body. He ran for 12 rounds last night. I think I saw him throw 2 or 3 combinations the whole fight. Guess who that works for perfectly? Billy Ho Saunders. Same as AJ. AJ running around, that works perfectly for Tyson Fury. It means Tyson Fury can sit at mid-range and pick AJ apart. And or worse. Same as Billy Ho Saunders. Look at the Eubank who fought Liam Chiniams. If that Eubank turns up against Billy Ho, that goes from being a fight where I'd back Eubank to win, because Eubank coming forward using his engine, and it also, especially if he spent more time, if Eubank actually tightens his combinations up, rather than throwing 20 punches, if he concentrates on throwing 2 or 3 punches with good technique and turning his shots over, that Eubank going in there, walking forward against Billy Ho, I'll give him the edge. But guess what? If Eubank goes in there, like he did against Liam Chiniams, and is dancing around for 12 rounds, do you really think he can outbox Billy Ho Saunders? The odds are, I think Billy Ho Saunders is half shot now, but still, the point is, it only makes the fight harder for Eubank. That fight goes from being, if Eubank's on his job and walking forward, that fight I'd give him a 70% chance of winning, 70-30. Going in there doing what he did against Chiniams, that's going to be a 50-50 fight against Billy Ho Saunders. And if anything, he'd probably go in Billy Ho Saunders' favour because of the history of it. Billy Ho Saunders has got much more experience doing that kind of thing, outboxing someone. He's much better at out-trickying someone. The reason Alvarez popped Billy Ho Saunders' cherry wasn't because he tried to out-fanny him. He went in there and got cracked on. Yeah, jumped straight on Billy and rode him all the way home. It's basic maths here, but most of these guys in their goofy teams, they're also low IQ. Yeah? They ain't dynamic thinkers. They ain't thinking at all. Don't know what they're doing. Apart from being full of fear. But yeah, this fight, putting the technicals to one side, this fight's surely entertaining. And both men really, I know Chris Eubank talking about, I want to make a real run at 160. Listen, Eubank, you ain't doing nothing at 160. Now, 160 is pretty weak, so you might be able to nick a belt. Actually, no, you won't, because you got, even though I don't really rate Charlo, you got Charlo there, you got Poo-Poo, you got Demetrius, Poo-Poo, Andre there, so there's a few men there who are alright. They're solid dudes, and I didn't see nothing special from Eubank. So he ain't going to win no belts anyway. His best bet, I think actually, because of how old Triple G is, I think his best bet is, but then again, not yet. I think Eubank should fight Triple G in a few more years. Wait until he gets closer to 50. And that'll give you a chance, or your chances will increase exponentially if you can fight Triple G spot at 51 or 52, rather than 41 or 42. So yeah, leave that for another 10 years, Chris. Focus on this fight, to be honest, because what else you going to do? Chris Eubank is going to get filled in by, or he's going to get beat for sure by Charlo or by Poo Andrade. Yeah? He ain't going to do nothing with Poo Andrade. That's what he's not going to do. So really, where's he got to go? Yeah? Apart from fighting more British level dudes. A rematch with Liam Chiniums? That's probably what coming next, 100%. Yeah? Chris Eubank has learned from the Dillian White book of doing things how to fight bums and make money. Then again, to be fair to Chris Eubank, he did try and fight Billy Ho. He did try and fight George Groves. So I give him more credit than I do Dillian White. But still, for the main, Chris Eubank's career has been based on fighting British level dudes like Liam Chiniums. Yeah, Chinny, no good. And on that basis, Chris Eubank's career hasn't been based on getting world titles. It's been based on making money, which is fair play. But also, it's been based on trying to make something out of nothing. And this really, Eubank versus Billy Ho, is a classic making something out of nothing. And I think, to be fair to Chris Eubank, he should strike now for that fight. Why is it important to strike now? Well, Billy Ho, whenever he has a belt, he thinks he's too nice. He thinks he's too good. He starts acting too stush. Well, Billy Ho don't have a belt now. And to be honest, he ain't ever going to have a belt because Alvarez has got the division down pat. So I guess the risk is much less now, but still. Now's the time to strike. Now it's certainly a 50-50 fight because Billy Ho Saunders just got his cherry popped and quit, and Eubank is looking better than ever. Yes, Eubank doesn't have the resume, but what resume really does Billy Ho have? Billy Ho rants and raves about being a world champion, but I'll tell you this now. I'd back Chris Eubank to beat every single one of the so-called champions that Billy Ho's beat, if that makes sense. The guy, the European Don that Billy Ho Saunders beat at 168 to win the belt, the vacant belt. Come on now, you think Eubank ain't going to beat him? And I find it laughable that Billy Ho says things like, I'm a world champion and I know what it takes to become world champion, and Chris Eubank doesn't have it. What, you know what it takes to beat some random Russian dude? Are you serious? Billy, you beat all bums to become champion. You didn't beat no real champions. And in fact, the very few times you were offered to fight a real champion, like Poo Andrade, you ended up taking juice from Dominic Juiceable. Yeah? Dom Juiceable, aka Joe Rogan looking ass, he juiced you up to the gills because you was shook to death of Poo Andrade. That's what happened the first time. And the second time you stepped up to fight someone real, you got your cherry popped. And Alvarez made your booty pop for you. 100%. So that's your career. Yeah? I'm going to call a spade a spade. Yeah, I don't rate Eubank, but you're no better, truth be known. You two make a perfect couple in your uselessness. And actually, to some extent, I do respect Chris Eubank. At least he knows his lane. Yeah, Chris Eubank knows his lane of, you know what, I'll sit back in the cut and just fight Eurobums for a bunch of coins and use my dad's name to make coin. Yeah, he knows not to stick his beak out because he get his beak chopped off. You thought you was too good. You got gassed. Yeah, you got gassed and we all saw what happened. Yeah, Alvarez made your booty pop. Serious. Yeah, he turned you into OnlyFans chick for a bit. 100%. We all watched it as well. It was a good OnlyFans performance. No doubt about that. 100%. Listen, anyway, the fight makes sense now. I'd like to watch it. I think the build-up would be good. Hopefully, neither of them end up like Dillian White. Oh, I'm in a massive UK derby, but I'm gonna lose my mouthpiece for it. You know what I'm saying? But no in boxing today. If this fight does get signed, one of them will turn into Dillian White. Oh, I'm in the biggest fight. I've got a massive mouth. I'm in the biggest fight in Britain for years, and I've had a massive mouth in all of my bum fights for years. But for this fight, I'm going to magically lose my mouthpiece. 100%. That's what coming next for your mans. But yeah, let's see what happens. I'd like for it to be done, because why not? Like I said, this is the fight. This is the nothing else going on fight. Neither of these two have anything else going on. Yeah? I think Chris Eubank, his plan is to try and nick a belt somewhere, but from what I understand, all the belts are locked up. There ain't no nicking a belt, and that's how it should be, to be fair. So I don't know what... There's nowhere else for either of these two cats to go. Unless Chris Eubank believes he's going to do something to Triple G or to Alvarez. I don't see it, though. Alvarez isn't even at 160. But then again, there's an argument, would Billy Ho Saunders come down to 160? I'm not sure he would. But then again, Eubank has been looking a bit drained, so maybe he's ready to go up to 168.